I just want to do a really quick emphasis of this idea of subproofs as code block, and just take a look for one more second at this subproof that we looked at before. Or sorry, at this proof that we just finished looking at, and just again figure out how do we know what we can use and what we can't use, right? So give me a second to do this. Okay, if I divide this into sort of code blocks, right? We have one giant block, and then under that we have a subblock, and inside of that we have another subblock. Let me shove that up a little bit. Okay, so if we look at this for a minute, what we'll see is inside of the purple, right, we can use any of the rules that came from above in the red. So while we are doing purple, we can use line 1 if we feel like it, all right? While we're inside of this green one, we can use anything from above, regardless of how related or unrelated to what we're doing it seems to be. We can still use it, okay? So for example, right here on line 4, I'm using 1, right, along with line 3, this not B, and modus ponens to get me to be able to conclude A, right? And I can pull that line 1 statement whenever I want to, as long as I'm inside of the red zone or if I'm inside of one of the subzones, okay? The catch is that as soon as I leave a subzone, for example, I leave the green subzone, everything that was in there is discharged. So notice that in here, I have my subproof, and when I pull out with IP, I've discharged with lines 3 through 6. Lines 3 through 6 are out of scope. It's as though they don't exist anymore, okay? Same here with the purple stuff. While I'm in the purple, when I get to, say, line 7 or line 8 or line 9, well, the stuff in the green is gone. I can't use that anymore, right? I discharged it when I did my IP. But I could still use line 2, and I could still use line 1. And I can put those guys anywhere I want. So for example, at the very end of this purple, I use line 2, okay? Again, when I leave the purple, when I leave this subproof, I have to discharge anybody that's not already discharged. So who am I going to discharge? Well, I'm going to discharge line 2 because that was purple. Lines 3 through 6 have already been discharged, so I don't discharge them, right? I'm not using them for this purple proof. But 2 and then 7, 8, and 9 go here with my IP, right? And then what can I use? Well, I can use line 1, right? Line 1 is still okay. And all that stuff is done. And I can use line 10, right? So that's all I end up using in my very last line, because everything else has been discharged. It's sort of out of scope. Hope that helps.